Welcome to Missing the Point on the 617 podcast, brought to you by Crowworthy. I am Michael Marcangelo, joined alongside by Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. And today we are talking about the Celtics 93-80 Game 5 win over the Miami Heat. And we have a very special guest to help us do that. She was a staple on NBC Sports Boston, iHeartMedia, and Dirty Water Media. And she is most definitely a bigger Celtics fan than Ray. Please welcome Miss Bri Marie D. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm glad we could find some time in our hectic work schedules and Celtics watching schedules to get this in. I'm excited.
Yeah, same. And I know once Craig let us know that you were going to join the show, we were typically like our when we have guests on, we're like, we'll just talk about them and we'll be really, really straightforward. But this time, I think we all need to talk about that Game 5 win.
At like 3:30 in the morning.
I'll never stop talking about that win. We could talk about that for hours and I won't be sick of it. So let's do it.
Yeah. Well, so you're going to learn this in the time that we're here together is that I typically am a glass half empty type of person, right? So I'm sorry in advance, but up to halftime, if you were to tell me that the Celtics were going to go on that run that they did in the second half, I would have probably told you that you were crazy. So what is your reaction to the game and like the tale of two halves?
Oh, totally was the tale of two halves for sure. They looked like they went out late on the night before, just partying it up in Miami. They looked like they didn't want to be there the first half. The only two people that you wouldn't even expect to keep us in the game were, well, maybe you would expect Al Horford, but you wouldn't expect Derek White to be the leading guy, leading the charge for keeping us in that game, only down 5 at half. If you really looked at how they were playing, you were like, only 5 points? Really? Like, we had a chance. You was like, so you're saying there's a chance. And then they made the necessary adjustments. I think Ime kind of just smacked them in the face and said, would you like to go home? 3-2, up or down? You pick. What do you want to do, guys? Honestly, this series should have been over already, in my opinion. We should have already handed the Heat tickets to Cancun to go hang out with LeBron and KD and Kyrie. And we should have already been resting because God knows we need more rest to take on the Warriors, because that's pretty much what it's looking like at this point. I don't see the Mavs making a triumphant comeback. So, yeah, it was just a wild turn of events. I'm glad that they, got their heads out of their asses and got the win, because shouldn't have lost Game 3 at home. And that kind of made up for it. It was a redemption game. So now they have to win again at home. Game 6, no excuses, get it done. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. They definitely got to get it. But the first person I got to get in there, because obviously we saw it come to a head in the first half last night. Can we get Jaylen Brown a ball handler, coach?
No.
Because
I mean, yeah.
We need, it was unbelievable to see that happen. So just what were your thoughts seeing that first happen, seeing him turn the ball over time and time and time again? I was going.
So as you know, normal people who actually know the game of basketball will be on my side when I say I don't want him handling the ball until he figures out how to handle a ball. 4 turnovers out of the 6 turnovers in the first quarter go to you. That's not good, bro. I don't want to see that. I said that publicly on my post game because I have to be a realist. I'm going to say everything that happened, good or bad, in the game and give my opinion on it. And you know how the trolls love to come out and twist words and take a sentence and run with it. They were like, oh, so Bri just wants Jaylen to catch and shoot and he blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, he was 5 for 9 from 3. So I'm not mad at that number, first of all. Second of all, I said, when he gets better at handling the ball, then I will trust him. 4 out of the 6 turnovers in the first quarter belong to him. Yeah, I'm going to speak on that. I'm not going to just let that slide. It is what it is. He had a redemption in the second half, had 19 second half points, monstrous dunk that would have literally put Bam in a body bag if Bam didn't get out of the way, but he was quick to be like, no, I'm gonna just let him go off on the rim before that's my face. But yeah, I give credit when it's due, but I'm also going to critique your ass if you need it. I'm gonna put you in check. Brown needs to learn how to handle the ball better. Same thing with Tatum. I hate when Tatum is getting stripped and he's like, oh, no, you got stripped. Go back on defense. Enough with this shit. Stop acting like you got fouled. I can't with the complaining of the non-call. Just get back on defense. You're hurting us on the transition when you're whining at the other end of the floor, and then it's a 4-on-5 on the other end. I can't.
I mean,
we're
gonna be
best friends. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say we're gonna be best friends, Bri, because I've been saying that. I've been saying that all year. I mean, I have a buddy that compares Jaylen Brown dribbling at, like he's trying to hide the basketball from other people. But I sent out this meme or gif that he looks like Stanley from The Office in the basketball episode.
Oh my God, that's hilarious!
It's like it is the most. It's ridiculous because he's out there just dribbling like this for no reason, you know. But two things I want to ask you off of that, right? Because you brought up two very important things. Number one, it feels like Ime's tried to correct it or at least addressed it with him, because when he was asked in the post-game press conference, he said, well, I wish I would get some more of those hand check calls, right? So it almost feels like he thinks it's not his fault. It's not really on him. But also, what if I told you that in Jaylen Brown's career, all the playoff games that he's played, he has 102 assists and 101 turnovers.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's gross.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I mean, A, what do you do? And B, do you think that the Celtics, because when you mentioned when Jason Tatum gets stripped and it's not called, he always flails. I said it a couple weeks ago on the show. I wish they would stop playing for the call and start playing for the shot.
Yeah.
But is that realistic in today's NBA?
I mean, you already know they changed the rules, right? That's why James Harden's game is now non-existent, because he can't get those calls anymore. So you have to adjust and adapt and pivot your game to what you're being given. If you're not going to get those calls, just be done with it and move on. Like, you shouldn't be playing to get a call. You should, exactly what you said, be playing for the ball, be playing for the play, not for the play call. Like, refs shouldn't control your game. You should play your game and let it go. Like, it is what it is. Don't let them critique and control your game. So they need to let that bad habit go. And I did notice throughout this playoff run that Tatum would stop complaining here and there, but when they fall back to those bad habits, it's so like cringeworthy to see. I'm like, stop it. We already corrected this bad behavior. Knock it off. And then
yes, Mom.
Yeah, literally, like, cut it out. Drop the dad, Brad Stevens. He'll whip you into shape. He's the dad. I'm the mom. But yeah, literally, Brown, I don't know, man. Like, he's great. I love him. He's obviously part of the dynamic duo with the Jays and Jason, and they found their rhythm this year. It looks fantastic, but obviously no one's perfect. He just has to have, those minor adjustments, tweak that. I mean, if I had it my way, I would prefer that he doesn't handle the ball as much or at all. Don't bring up the ball. That's really not your position. Let somebody else do that. I'd rather him be an off-ball shooter. I'm not saying that all he has to do is post up at the 3 and take a shot. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want the ball in his hands at the least amount of time as possible to prevent the turnovers and the careless dribbling mistakes. That's all I mean by that.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, that's facts. No, that's valid. I think that once he didn't think about the next play as much, that's when he became more effective last night, right? So if they just give it to him, like you said, he was 5 and 9 from 3. So of course, the couple of times that Tatum set him up or whoever set him up to get that 3, it was really okay, cool. I don't have to make a decision with it. I'm just rising and fighting. So that's really when he's at his best. We don't need you to have the T-Mac handles. Don't need you to have the AI handles. Just take a couple dribbles. If it's not there, either hit you. He's really good with the step back too. He's not good with step back as Tatum is, but hit the step back. Or if one dribble, 2 dribble, okay, cool. Let's see who's open. Because they both have become better as playmakers. But I wanted to get back to Tatum real quick because I know you said about him getting over the complaining and stop doing that. But I'm sorry. I'm someone that I'm with him at times. I'm like, yo, if you're considered a superstar in this league, now we just saw him get first team All NBA. He gets the worst whistle of any superstar in this league. I'm sorry. So I don't need it to be ridiculous like Harden or even Giannis for that matter, but there's certain calls we need to get a hatch that he's a smaller guy that they don't call for whatever reason. So I'm with them. I get that you shouldn't complain, but it's just like, it's so hard not to say something. And I'm a reactionary person. So you do something to me, I'm saying something immediately. So that's why I think I'm so cool. I don't get mad as much when Tatum does that. I think there's times we should go back on defense, like you said, because I don't want, you don't want them to score in transition. But yeah, I had to get that out there because I'm just like, to me, he gets the worst whistle, of any superstar. So do you agree with that?
No, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I just think that can't be the focus of your gameplay. You can't rely on them to bail you out with a whistle or to, support you with a whistle and a foul call. You just need to keep playing your game and eventually the calls will go in your favor. If you're going to be known for someone that whines and complains about every non-call, then they're probably going to do it to spite you at that point. So he just needs to take it into consideration, understand, and then just be like, all right, cool, I'll show you. You don't want to give me that foul call? Watch. And I feel like if he has that type of mindset and attitude, I think eventually down the road, he will get the whistle that Giannis and company get, So it's taking him a little while. He's only 19, guys. He needs to earn that status. Still a young buck, so he'll get there eventually.
How much of the win can be attributed to the fact that Miami couldn't have hit the lake with the rock? And how much of it was the Celtics defense? Because I do believe that this is one of the best defensive, schemes that we've seen in the Jaylen Brown era. So we'll just call it or even the Marcus Smart era, like the last 7 years. But when you go up against a team that shoots 15% from three and 31% from the field, like you should win by double digits, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you're totally right. I think it's a combination of both, right? I think that the Celtics defense is just out of its mind, which is great. And we've seen that for the second half of this season. So that was to be expected. I won't, I'll give a little bit of shout out and props to the Heat. Their defense was great as well. That they're not like anything to scoff at. They're decent too. They're just not playing their A game at all with this matchup between us because we're making it difficult. But when you have Jimmy Butler only scoring 13 points, you're not going to win a game. Sorry. He's your leading scorer. He's your superstar. It falls on his shoulders. He's now had 3 bad games in a row. Like, what's up? Where are you? Put him on a milk carton. He's gone. Where is he? And then you have Kyle Lowry scoring 0 points. Man just was doing cardio last game, just running up and down, doing absolutely nothing. And then you have Max Strus, who just puts up 4. It's like, come on. It's just those the differentials in the numbers are astronomical. And Celtics really capitalized and made that second half just like their bitch, basically. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm here.
I'm trying to censor it, but it's like,
oh
no,
fuck that. Fuck that. You good. You good. No, but listen, this is where I get a little cocky myself. It's like, listen, you're not telling me that guys like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Caleb Martin is going to
nobody.
Going to be key contributors to our championship team. Like this, like you said, this shit should have been over in 5. Like the fact that those guys even had, memorable moments in this series is a joke to me. Then again, Max Strus just at 3, and they put him up 4 in the end of game 3. Really, the biggest shot of the series from Miami. Because that saved their season in the moment. He hasn't made a shot since.
Right. But you're so one and done.
Yeah, for real. So I'm just like, I don't know. Like Miami has been a mystery, but I mean, I don't know. Like this series has gone so back and forth. So they went 7-45, but it's like, could they hit 14 and 15 threes in game 6? They could. We'll get to that, later on toward the end. But yeah, it's definitely been a Jekyll and Hyde, series for both teams. But want to talk a little bit about Derek White. So obviously he's a trade acquisition. He's had some ups and downs since he's been here. But just what you see from him recently, I think he had a little glimpse of playing better in game 4 against Milwaukee. Then he has some games in this series here. So in your honest opinion, has he finally earned his keep here as a Boston Celtic as they go towards the finals?
Before you get to that, Bri, because Ray is a humble man, and what he did not tell you is that 2 weeks ago on the show, he said that Derek White will be the reason that you win a series. So he caught.
Oh,
He knew it was
okay.
going to happen. So to his question, what did you see from him in game 5? Sorry to steal your thunder, Ray, but why haven't we
No, that's
seen it
great.
more
That's
often?
good insight. So my honest opinion, right? I didn't really know who Derek White was. What we got him from San Antonio, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, I have no idea who this guy is. What I was told was he was going to basically be a lesser version of Marcus Smart on the defensive end, is what I was told. So I was looking for that aspect of him. I really didn't know if he was going to be a shooter or someone to do like shot production. So I was told he was more a defensive threat and acquisition for us. So I was like, okay, cool. Then I was sitting there looking at him throughout, the remaining season that we had him, and I was like, he's not really anything. I don't know. I just didn't really know anything about him. And then I think that he had his breakout games here and there. But the thing is, he's not consistent enough for me. So I wouldn't like bet the house on him, like, showing up to play or saving the game or anything like that. But like I said, I gave him props. I shouted him out last night in my post game that he, and with Al Horford, but mainly Derek White, was the reason why the Celtics remained in the game or close that first half. So I did, appreciate his efforts and saw him really making an impact for the Celtics with that game. And like you said, whenever in that Bucks series, there was like one game. But that's my thing. If it's only just like a one-off, then does he really have a lot of impact if it's not every single game consistently putting up those numbers or stats?
Well, defensively, yes. I think that his season average is like 13, 5, and 4. So yes, if he's getting that, then yes, they're going to the finals and they may mess around and actually win it if everyone gets their averages or higher. His biggest thing is that he's a quick decision maker, and I think that was something they were lacking early in the year, right? So even though Jay Rich had come on and they started to play better, and they was hit threes, and they were playing better defense, and he made sure in their rotation. When Derek White came, it was like, okay, as soon as he gets the ball, he knows how to get the ball up the floor, find the right guy that's running to either lane as they fill the lane, which was just making them a quicker team. So that it's the intangibles I think that made them better with him coming here, as opposed to saying, oh, he got 19.7 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, of course you want to see those performances, but
Right.
it's been the little things that I think that has been, the best thing about having him here in Boston. I thought he was great the last 2 games. He had that Tony Parker type floater in his game, and I've said it a few times on the show. So last 2 days we've seen it. I'm like, yes, like this is, if you're doing this and Tatum Brown doing their thing, like you're not beating the team, but I don't care who you put out there, like because they have enough firepower to score. So I'm just happy that he's doing that. But like I said, you're not alone in that. A lot of Celtics fans did not know who he was. I just watch a lot of San Antonio stuff because I love the Spurs. If I'm not watching the Celtics, so I knew that he would be someone decent. But I'm just glad that my prediction has come somewhat true, and I'm hoping that he gets to the finals and do the thing for sure.
Totally. And if anyone can contribute in a positive way to my team, I'm all here for it. So let's go. Hell yeah.
Can you tell me, Bri, because I think already you've proven that you know way more about the game of basketball than I ever will. And what happened to Kyle Lowry?
Yo, I have no idea what happened to Kyle Lowry.
He's thick. He's thick as hell now, but he just flops.
Yeah.
He flops. And he used to have a mid-range game and he could hit a 3, but he went 0 for 6 last night. And I know he was a -7, but he hasn't been a factor. Like we were talking in game 1, like when Lowry comes back, this could be a different series.
Right.
Has it just passed him by?
I don't know. Like, do you think that he just has thrown in the towel and just gave up? Like, I have no idea. Listen, let me just tell you.
That's not him.
Let me just tell you, okay, when the Heat advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, and when Jimmy Butler was all like, "I want to be back with Embiid," and blah blah blah. Like, yo, I'd feel a type of way if my duo was saying that shit. I would be like, "Yo, what the hell? Like, you want to go play with Embiid right now? Wrong place, wrong time to be saying that shit." When we literally just advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, what's good, Jimmy? That's what I've been saying. I'm like, is he really invested? Doesn't seem like he wants it. Doesn't seem like he cares. And if I was Kyle Lowry, I'd be like, you're the face of the team and you're talking mad shit. Like, you're like, oh, Tobias Harris over me. Oh, I want to go hang out with Joel Embiid. It's like, yo, you're in the middle of a playoff run. Can you get it together and cry about that in the off season? Like, what are you doing, bro? It was just so sloppy and like wrong place.
Was he wrong though? Was he wrong?
Yes, wrong.
He wasn't wrong.
Look at all the turmoil that's been happening with the Heat. Like, he even fought with Ulstra. Like, Jimmy is a loose cannon and says whatever he wants, and that's cool, bro. Do you if that works for you? But clearly, like, you don't really have team chemistry with your squad. So, like, I don't know. I don't think that'll get you very far if you're trying to like push for an NBA Finals run. Kyle Lowry and you are clearly disconnected. People want to be like, oh, injuries, oh, this, oh, that. Yo, shut up, bro. My injury list has been 3 tweets long for my team pretty much all year long. So I don't want to hear that. Team chemistry or not, it happens off the court too, not just on the court. So I don't know.
No, facts. I think, listen, I maybe because I just respect his game and I saw what he did in Toronto for a number of years. He just went against the wrong opponent in LeBron, and everyone fell to LeBron in the East for those years. But Lowry's a competitor. And because what did you say he was, Mike? You said he was 0-6?
Yeah, 0-6.
Oh, 0-6. So in my mind, he's still giving an O to Toronto because he's running through the 6 with his robes. That's all it is. So I mean, listen, I expect him to respond. I thought that he was the boost they needed in Game 3, even though he didn't have a phenomenal game, but I think just having him on the floor was a boost for him in the Game 3. Now, I think he was rushed back to the court because Hero's not been healthy, and he's now questionable for Game 6, which I'm like, groin injuries as a man, I'm like, I'm not sure that's going to be healed in 2 days. I don't know. He's more worried about the outfits than he is stretching out the groin, but that's the one other show for another day. Yeah, yeah, mate. Hey, I mean, listen, he's more worried about me Miami Vice than anything else, but it is what it is. But yeah, no, I said I don't think Larry's done the towel though to answer that question. I think that he's really, really hurt. And granted, we have guys that are hampered too, so it's not about the excuse, but I just think that's really what's going on, and he's not going to use that as an excuse. He's just going to try to give his best, but if his best is not enough, then hey, Eric Spoelstra should go right to Gabe Vincent and whoever is out there trying to make records. Gabe Vincent has played Kyle Lowry in the series. He has. Like, yeah, I didn't think I would say that. But that's what's going on. So, but we'll see. We'll see till Friday night.
So that does bring me to what happens Friday night. Now, there's speculation already that both Marcus and Robert Williams will miss the game. I say speculation. I don't want to say I like do what they did yesterday and say, "Bam, he tested positive," because clearly didn't.
Right.
But what happens? Like, is it a winnable game without those two, based on what you've seen so far?
No, because it's not that the Heat will do really anything different than what they've been doing for the past 4 games. It's the fact that they have such a presence and influence on the game that their absence is really felt. And the Celtics just really aren't the best with the next man up mentality in the sense of they fall apart and they beat themselves when they're not full strength and they can't rely on every piece of the puzzle to contribute and do their part to get the win. So not having Robert or Marcus will be a huge disadvantage. However, I honestly just feel like they put out that injury report just to piss everybody off and then tell us an hour before tip that they're all good to go, because they've been sitting on that injury report since like the Bucks, and it's been every day. And then also the same thing for the Heat. They had like 5 players listed as questionable since the start of this series. They've all played except for Tyler Hero. And then that one time when Kyle Lowry didn't play or whatever. But like, I just feel like they list everybody as questionable just to like cover their ass and like put that drama there. But I honestly feel like they're going to play. They shouldn't not play. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. They looked fine leaving the court. They looked fine on the court. But like, I don't think anything drastic has changed from 2 days ago to now. You know what I'm saying? Like, or to to tomorrow, I think they'll be able to play.
If they don't,
close enough game. Close.
If they don't play, do you think they're that confident in their abilities to beat the Heat and they just want to save them and rest them up for Golden State in the finals?
No.
That was quick. Okay, right.
You're not anybody.
What else? Smart was not right in Game 5. I don't know what people saw. There's a reason why Derek White still got most of those minutes last night. Like, Smart is still, he may be better as far as the swelling going down, but he was not. He wasn't in sync the way he's been in previous games. So maybe there is something that's really there that they just need to keep resting. But like you said, I agree. He should be playing Smart, but it leads into my next question. Because obviously we talked about Smart and Time Lord a lot on these shows, and Twitter's been going crazy about their abilities in the game. So just who do you think is more who do you think contributes to the success more? So would you say it's Time Lord or is it Marcus Smart?
That's a tough question because they both contribute different things, in my opinion. Because they're both defensive threats. That's not even a discussion. We have Defensive Player of the Year and then all NBA second team defensive players. So clearly not having both of those people active is a huge loss. And people want to act like that's not the case. That's the case. Yes, can you still potentially win a game without them? Sure. But it'd be a lot easier if they were active and playing. That's tough because I feel like Rob's absence is a little more detrimental than Smart's. And I say that because of size. We need the size. Smart isn't as tall. And I feel like Grant kind of does the same things that Smart does in a way. Same thing as he kind of does the same thing as Rob does as well and on the defensive end, but he's not as tall. So I think we need all of the size and the length that we can. So that would be my only, by a hair, I would say Rob being out is a little bit more impactful than Smart being out.
So let's tweak it then. So would you say Rob is more important for this series against Miami, and then maybe Smart would be more important for a potential series against Golden State then because of their perimeter play? Yeah. So you say put it like that instead? Yeah. I think so too. Rob is a game changer. To me, it's Time Lord. I know Smart won Defensive Player of the Year, but dudes are literally not trying to drive because it's all 44 back there. Like
hell yeah. Right.
He becomes the eraser. Like it is unbelievable. I've seen nothing like it. Those corner threes that he closed on, which usually are the easiest shot in the NBA. Like he closed on it from the paint. I was like, this man is on a different level. Like he's unbelievable.
Absolutely. 3 blocks last game. 10 rebounds. Crazy. That's also the thing, rebounding. So yeah, I would take Rob over Smart. Especially because Smart's injury is more fresh, right? Than Rob's. So if Smart needs a little bit more, downtime so that he is fresh and ready for Warriors, I'm okay with that. I don't need them to be lingering injuries that prevents them from going hard in the next series. But yeah, I think Rob can handle it. I think it's just limited minutes. If you have to throw Tyson, throw Tyson. If you have to, rely more on Grant, rely more on Grant. But Rob's going to get you those blocks, those rebounds, and that hustle. So it would be very stupid to just sit him just to sit him. If he's good to go, play him. End of story.
I mean, you just brought him up. So what's happened to Grant Williams this series? Now, I don't need 25 points a game from him. But when he was shooting, I believe 44% from 3 in the playoffs up until this series, and it just kind of feels like I don't know that the Heat have figured him out as much as he's gone cold. But what's your take on him? Has it just leveled out? Maybe that Kelly Olynyk game wasn't what he should be or what he will be every game. But I mean, what was he? 5 points on 2 of 5 shooting last night. Is that more of what he's going to be?
I hope not. I think everyone's just kind of learning what their role is for each series, and each matchup. I think they're just doing what's asked of them and what's needed of them, and seeing where they kind of fit in. If we need him more on the defensive end than on the shooting end, that's what we need from him. Maybe he has gone a little cold. You can't expect him to be like a Steph Curry, for example. He's Grant. even though that was his now nickname, I was calling him Grant Steph Batman Curry Williams. But he's also just getting into the swing of things, in my opinion. We've built him up. He's the most improved player to me. So they're allowed to have off nights. They're allowed to, go cold a little bit. It would be stupid of us to be like, why are you shooting like that one game you had? It's hard for someone to be on fire every game. It's hard to ask someone of that, especially when he is mainly our sixth man and he starts when one of our starters doesn't start. So it's tough, I think he'll find it again. I have no worries about Grant. I think he's just going to be ready and be inserted into a game and contribute what he can as much as he can. And if his shots aren't falling, he'll find other ways to impact the game. That's my opinion on Grant.
And I think it's just the matchup, right? So we talked about that. So Brooklyn didn't have a lot of versatile defenders that can guard the three. So outside of Bruce Brown and really just Bruce Brown, right? And then obviously when we get to Milwaukee, you had Wes Matthews, obviously Middleton was out. You had Pat Connaughton, but those guys weren't big enough or physical enough to really get out there and really bother Grant. So PJ Tucker is versatile. Jimmy Butler, healthy or not, is still versatile. So they have a lot of wings that can bother the shooting, because even though the Celtics are up 3-2, the shooting hasn't been great. It's not like they've been out here shooting lights out like they were in past series. So that's all I think it is. Miami's been more physical. They've been up in their airspace. So because of that, that's what you've seen with 5 points for 2 for 5. And once again, like you said, Mike, his role is not going to be getting 17 to 18. Once again, it's a bonus for him in this part of his career to get that. You know what I'm saying? Like he is our PJ Tucker. He is our Draymond Green, so to speak. So whatever you can give him is a plus. And Doc Rivers should say this is the best. Be a star in your role. He's been a star in his role all playoffs. So I'm okay if we don't get that offensive input for him, because we've seen him do it time and time again, and we've seen him be great on the defensive end. So he's been a star in his role. Now it's time for other guys to step up, be a star in their role, and get on to the finals. If they close them out in the series. So like I said, I don't worry about Grant. He's a smart player. He's gonna figure it out. He may trust him. The team trusts him. And like they said, when he shot them 18 threes in was it game 4, whatever that last series, just let it fly. Like you were here to keep shooting. All these are not going to get 18 threes, a lot of times, but just give whatever the game requires. And I think that's what, him and many others on this team have done, which has gotten to this point this far.
Definitely. I think that he was asked to do that. They were like, keep shooting. You're on fire. Keep shooting. And he didn't expect that. He even said in the post game, he was like, they kept telling me to keep shooting. And he kind of was taken aback by that. And then Jason Tatum was like, don't get used to that. You're not, that's not what you're going to be doing. So he and his teammates are like, that's not really your role, but you're going to do what you're asked, and then do what you're asked to do, and nothing more or nothing less, unless you're being told to do more, then do more, basically. That's what you said. Be a star in your role. Sometimes your role will change. Be adaptable and do what you're asked. The end. Get the job done.
Speaking of be a star in your role, what were you thinking when you saw a 35-year-old Al Horford go coast to coast? And it just looks like with every step he got quicker and younger. Talk about his impact in this series in particular, because if we had Al back in the bubble, we would have gone to the finals. I firmly believe that.
Sorry, Bri. That warmed my heart, because we've had a lot of arguments about how things would have went if certain players were there. That warmed my heart. That is the takeaway of this whole show. So I'm like, get the floor is yours, man. Go ahead.
Well, also, how dumb do the Sixers and the Thunder look for letting him go?
Oh, thank you, thank you, Sam Presti. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate that. I'm so happy.
Yeah, they didn't know what they had when they had him. So thank you, OKC, for, was it OKC where he
Yeah.
came
Yeah.
from? Worlds?
Mhm.
Where they literally, no, wait, was it the Sixers? Whatever team it was where they just literally sat him.
Okay. Okay. See. Yeah.
Thanks for resting him as much as you did, because he has some fresh 19-year-old looking legs on that 35-year-old man. So, yeah, I know that, him then going to the Sixers, and that was just like a just like dumpster fire of an experience there. He said, and his sister said, that that was just such a bad choice for him going there. So him coming back to us, I don't know what it is about the Celtics organization, but we recycle players like it's nobody's business. But I'm fine with it, because getting all these players back that we've already had, it's a familiarity there. And taking a vet that's been there and who has the fire and the drive to want to push to a playoff run like this, I couldn't have asked for anything more. Al Horford is a stand-up guy, and the effort that he's been displaying, you wouldn't think he's 35. Let's just put it that way. He looks great. He looks fantastic. He keeps his body in shape, and rightfully so. He's putting in that work, and he's reaping the rewards of it, because now you're one win away from the NBA Finals. So
Yeah. Well, as the young people say now, he understood the assignment.
yes, he understood the assignment.
Yeah, he understood the assignment, and he is done what he. Once again, he's given what he needs to give what is required, and he understands the severity of the moment. This is year 14 for him. For those that don't know his career, he's a 2-time, national champion. That team in Florida was crazy back in the day with him, Lee Humphries, Joakim Noah, who had, both of them became top 10 picks in that 07 draft. So he's been on, winning teams, and then, Atlanta goes to the playoffs every year that he's there. So he's been around winning basketball really his entire career. So for him to be this close, I think he understands to say, look, and he said in his press conference when he came back, he said, we have unfinished business. And it's true. And I don't think if they knew the path that they were going to get to, especially after the 18 and 21 start. But after, but after coming into the new year, to the calendar year, they've been on the money, and he's really led the charge. So I'm excited for him. I there's no one that deserves it more, than him. I wish the little guy was still here on the team too. But that's a whole nother show another day. Yeah, I miss IT. Since we talk about players, so to me, that would have been the ultimate, recycle, but it is what it is. But no, Al Horford's Al Horford's been awesome, and I expect another, game that I think it was game 3, he had like 20 and 14. Like I expect something like that tomorrow night to close them out. I think he understands the severity of the moment. So, but speaking of Al Horford, we talked about Al, we talked about Tatum, we talked about Brown. So obviously the NBA just talked about how they are giving a new award called the Larry Bird trophy that stands for the Eastern Conference MVP. So if the Celtics are to close it out, whether it be Friday night or on Sunday, in Game 7, who in your humble opinion should be the inaugural Larry Bird Eastern Conference MVP?
I think it's going to go to Tatum. There's really no question that it wouldn't. Especially just all of the record-breaking numbers that he's been putting up, and for how young he is for breaking these records, I don't see it going to anybody else. You could say that maybe Al Horford would deserve it, but I think it's going to Tatum. You also have that superstar expectation to put it on him for being the face of the franchise. I think that's what's going to happen there.
Yeah, I mean, I it would be hard for me to argue that. I think in moments when you needed a play to be made, he's made it, and I'm not every time, but more often than we should expect. And he's proven that in situations where, last year or even the year before, where things aren't going well, that he would just play that ISO ball. Everyone else on the other side of the court, I'm going to handle it. When his shot isn't falling, he's still a playmaker. Like he's facilitating it. I said that we talked about this a couple months ago, right? I said, Dan Shaughnessy once said that Larry Bird controlled the game. by taking 12 shots. Like that's not, you can't do that in today's NBA. But if you see Tatum go 11 of 20, that we should win every single one of those games because he's going to have 8 assists. He's going to have 7 rebounds. He's going to have a steal. And I think he's now grown into that role. And it can't be anybody else.
Well, I mean, that's what we saw last night, right? So, obviously having the 4 points in the first half, but he ends with 22. He has 12 rebounds. Then he has 9 assists, right? And
almost triple-double, yeah.
Yeah. So, that to me, that shows, and we did a show a while back about the ascension of just Tatum, but that personifies it, to a T. He is now concerned with making the right play more times than not. It's not just, I got to give my shot, or, the refs are not calling X, Y, and Z. I firmly believe now, Tatum believes it, the rest of the team believes it. The key every time down the floor is for the Boston Celtics to score. It doesn't matter if it's Jason Tatum. It doesn't matter if it's Jaylen Brown. It doesn't matter if it's, hell, it could be Malik Fitz. I don't care who. It could be anybody. The goal is for the Boston Celtics to score. Doesn't matter the avenue. You get the 2 points, get the 3, and then you move on. So I'm just glad that they finally got that together. But yeah, Tatum should win it. I wouldn't be mad if Al won it though. I think Al deserves it. I know some people thought Derek White, but I don't think that's going to happen unless he would have a ridiculous game. I would say it's a little bit of homework, Bri, since you said you didn't know so much about him. Go type in Derek White game 3. I want to say it's the 2019 first round against Denver. Had 36 points in that game. With crazy.
Yes, I heard one of the commentators bring that up.
Yeah, he went ridiculous. So yeah, that's his peak. That's what you really get to that. I mean, if we get something like that from him, like maybe I'll see you at the parade. it's a wrap.
That'd be great. Like, there's just no need for him to score that many, so I don't see that happening. But
yeah,
that is great. That is a good, the fact that he could do that or that did come from him. That's a good. I want that person on my team because if he had that potential, I'd love to see that again.
Right.
So, without taking anything away from the Heat and what we need to do either tomorrow, Friday, or Sunday, how well do you think the Celtics match up against the Warriors? Because let's just assume that the Warriors do what they need to do too, and they close it out tonight. Are you scared of the Warriors? I preface that, and I asked that question because the Warriors are 1-6 against the Celtics in their last 7 games.
So the funny thing is, we're also really, I know it's not called Oracle anymore, whatever they changed the name and changed the
Chase Center, some of that Chase Center.
Something stupid, but it'll always be Oracle to me because that's showing my age, so I don't really care. It was so funny because the Celtics do so well in Oracle. I'm going to just call it Oracle. I don't care. That someone on Twitter, trolled and changed on Wikipedia, Oracle's owner would be the Celtics instead of whoever owns it. And I thought that was hilarious. And I thought it was true because the Celtics do really well on the road against the Warriors. So that's why I don't worry too much about the home court advantage being too much of a factor, because when we do face them, we will be on the road for the first 2 games, because I believe when we go to the NBA finals, it goes off of overall record and not what your seeding is. So the Warriors have a higher record than we do. So we will be the away team. We will be the lower seed, what so have you. So, yeah, I'm worried and I'm not. I'm worried because they're champions. They've been here, much sooner than we have. The last time we won anything was 2008, right? And you still have that core of Draymond, Steph, and Clay who, had the repeat champions. So they've been there riding a bike. I'm sure they won't forget. I'm sure they'll turn it on and bring that, championship attitude. I could see this being a deep series. Do I think the Celtics can, get one up on them? Anything's possible, right? The only thing that worries me is just how good Steph Curry is and how beaten up and bruised and battered we are. It just, if we had one more shooter, if we didn't have these lingering injuries over our head and then, went through a 7-game series with the Bucks. Giannis plays football, not basketball. So they're all battered and bruised from that. 7 games of that, the traveling, the flying back and forth, this, that, other thing, not having much rest, going straight into this Heat series. Like, they've been through a lot. So honestly, it'll just be a huge accomplishment in my mind for them to even make it there. Whether they win or lose, it's still a huge turnaround from the beginning of the season to the All-Star break to now. Like, I couldn't be more impressed and thankful for them turning their shit around and for where they ended up. They went from the 11th seed, barely making playoffs, 21-24, to the 1 seed. And then, of course, they ended with the 2 seed. But if you would have told me back in January, December, that we would have been the 1 seed, I'd have been like, yeah, okay, bro. No. What are you smoking? But now it's like, look at what they accomplished. This whole season is an accomplishment. The better team is going to win, and I'll respect the outcome either way. Honestly, I want it to be the Celtics that come out victorious, but I'm also a realist and I could see it going the other way. So
can I just ask, Ray, before you go, because I wasn't going to do this, but everything that you just said, I completely agree with. If they get to the finals, if they don't get to the finals, I think that this is a setback. I think that all the growth that you showed in the second half of the season is mitigated by the fact that you were in before this year, 3 out of the last 5 Eastern Conference Finals, and could never get over that hump. So how much of what you just said changes if they don't advance to the finals? I don't need them to win anything. Just get there. Just get there.
Well, if we're going to dish out excuses, we have a rookie head coach. Okay. We have a very young team. We've been riddled with COVID and riddled with injuries throughout the entire season. Our whole starting 5, original starting 5, barely played together the first half. Just now, finally getting their comfortability and getting their team chemistry on the court right when it matters the most, right? So if they beat themselves and they lose and fall to Miami after having this game in the bag, having this series in the bag, since no joke, could have swept the Heat, if I'm being dead serious with you. They had 2 quarters that they sucked at, and those cost them 2 games, if we're being real. 2 quarters cost them 2 games because they were playing with their heads up their asses, and they let the Heat take over. So if they don't advance, and this is where we leave you, and this is where we end, yeah, it's disappointing. But I'm still super proud of their accomplishment. And that just means the future is bright, and they're going to start off that next season with a vengeance and go on a tour of just redemption tour. And I'll see them in the Eastern Conference Finals again next year for sure. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's until they at least get there or at least win it. It's going to be a forever battle on this show, a debate between
just get there.
The rest of
just get there.
So, yeah, just get there. Just get there and win it, right? So, because we don't want to be the Philadelphia Eagles of the early 2000s. We don't. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to get to 5 straight conference finals and or be the Buffalo Bills to get there. You don't want that to happen.
No.
So,
you want to be the Bills. You want to get to 4.
Well, yeah,
what you want.
Yes, but you want to win one. Listen. I'd be sick if we went to 4 straight finals and became the new day Jerry West. I'd be sick. So I don't want parts of that. I want to be a part of the banner. I want to be part of the parade.
I want a duck float just for me.
Yeah. Period. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it's gonna be. But no. But far as the original question that you asked about being shook or just having respect for Golden State, I'm. There's a fear to an extent because the greatest shooter of all time is on their team, and he can erupt whenever he feels like it. And obviously Clay's back healthy. You have a motivated Draymond Green. So I mean that 1-6 is a little. It's not jaded, but it's like that team last year wasn't motivated to do anything because they were still looking to get certain picks, and they basically just wanted to get their guys healthy so they could come back and do the run that they're having, now. So they're a hell of a team. Jordan Poole has been phenomenal. Andrew Wiggins has turned into a hell of a third.
Thank God, because I've been like, what's good with Andrew Wiggins? We've been looking for this for how many years now out of him? Jeez.
No, I mean, hey, but I mean, listen, 19-5-4 for his career, just about like that's not a scrub. he was just in a bad situation, and that happened.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Minnesota's been trash, and they probably will continue to be so. But that's just what it was. But yeah, he's been awesome. So, and obviously, Kerr's proven to be, a steady coach. You got two coaches that come from the San Antonio tree. They both played for Pop. I don't think Steve Kerr, was an assistant, but like I said, he definitely played there, won the championship, won 2 rings with Pop. So, it definitely would be a lot of the same philosophy going on. I feel like we're like Warriors light out here in the East and in Boston. So, but that's always been the case. So whether it's been the IT era, even the Kyrie era, as much as we couldn't understand Kyrie after what happened, like he was killing Golden State. He was killing Golden State in Cleveland too. So we just, for whatever reason, we just matched up well with Golden State, which I think that series will be a lot more free flowing than what we've seen. The East in every round has been a dogfight, regardless of the opponent. So I just think it would be a little bit of a reprieve. But which is why they have to close it out Friday night. Like you need those 5 or 6 days to get it together. Mainly for someone like Al Horford. Like Al Horford off rest has been prime Tim Duncan. Like the man's become Tim Duncan when he gets that rest. And the beauty of the finals is, it starts June 2nd, and then the next game would be June 5th. Then June 8th and June 10th. So
very spaced out. Yeah.
And very spaced out. So if you have the nagging injuries, even after that, like you still have time to get that treatment, that recovery. So I don't worry about the pace of the games as much going into the finals. But like you said, it does matter that they have gone through the fire to get to this point, but hopefully it'll be all worth it very shortly.
Like if I said to you, this Celtics team that you saw at the beginning of the year and you see them now, they went through Katie and Kyrie, Giannis, and now it's going to be Jimmy Butler. The next monster to take down is Steph Curry. Like they're going through it. Like there's no easy route to the finals. There's no easy route to a championship. This is like just history is being made. You're watching this unfold. And I said this from the jump. I said, if I'm looking at the names KD, Giannis, and Jimmy, I'm not afraid of Jimmy out of those 3 people. So right now, this might be the lesser of the 3 evils, right, that we already have faced.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it from the pregame yesterday. I said it. We had everything, all of the keys to success to win this game. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's active. We're coming off a win. We should definitely not lose this game. And we won. So now, copy and paste. Now you're at home. If you're going to then embarrass yourself on your home court, then pack it up and go home. You don't want this. There's no excuse. Again, I will repeat myself, copy and paste myself from last night and say, there's absolutely no excuse to lose tomorrow night. None. Robin Smart better play. If one doesn't and one does, still better odds at home coming off of a 2-game win streak. You better get that, close it out. No need to go back to Miami. No need to make it a game 7. Take the rest and we'll see you in the finals. That's it. Just get it done. No excuses. Just get it done.
There's really no need to follow that. So, I mean, I could try, but I can't. Bri, thank you so much for joining us. But before we go, I want you to give the listeners and viewers a little bit of knowledge on how they can find you, any projects that you have coming up.
Sure.
So go ahead.
All right. So I'm my YouTube channel is not great. So I'm very active on Twitter.
Same.
Let's be honest. My YouTube game is that whack. But my Twitter and Instagram are at Bri Marie D, BriMarie D. Unfortunately, I have a lot of like weirdos that like try and impersonate me on Instagram. So the correct handle is BRI period MARIE period the letter D. If you just go to that page, if you have eyes, you'll realize what's a real account and what's a fake account. So figure that out. And then I'm very active on Twitter. I've made it my mission to go to every single playoff home game, and I'm very broke now. So I will be there tomorrow in the building. I basically live tweet and record the entire game. So I will be bringing a portable charger because my phone about to be hella dead if I don't bring one. And then I also do, I work now with these two guys, Bobby and Jags, on their very successful YouTube channel called the Celtics Corner. It has almost 9,000 subscribers. They're awesome. We do a pregame and postgame whenever I'm not working and I'm able to join. So if any of you guys, all of you guys want to add me on Twitter, Instagram, and their YouTube, because my YouTube, like I said, don't bother. Feel free. And I'm so glad you guys had me and that we got to meet and that Ray, I got to meet you at the game. How dope.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need that picture. I need to stay a little longer, you know, with my boy back.
Hey, and listen, to end it all, you're going 5-2 tomorrow.
Hell yes, I am. Thank you for keeping track.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because you're there too, but thank you for keeping track of my record. Rally towel games were really screwing us up, but luckily,
right.
Rally towel.
I need another shirt. Though. I need another shirt.
Facts. Shirts over towels every day. Even though I really wanted a rally towel, and then they're like, "You get that we get rally towels because we're down and need to rally, right?" That's what that means. Oh, I don't want the towels anymore. But hey, 2-2, so I'm fine. I'll take those on. Just get me a win. Let's do it. Let's move on. I'm so sick of these haters, the Heat haters in my DM. See ya to the left, just like the Bucks, just like the Nets. Ship them up to Cancun. Let's go. I'm so excited. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I wish we could.
8:30 yet? Is it Friday at 8:30 yet? Because that's what I'm waiting on. That's about it.
I wish we could just end it with you, but unfortunately, I have to give the outro. So,
I was a bitch. I'm so bad at outros. So please don't fuck you. You don't want to see my videos. I'm like, and bye. I don't.
For Bri Marie D, for Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan, this is Michael Marcangelo saying thank you so much for listening to this episode of Missing the Point on the 617 podcast. We will talk to you next week.